People made their own ramps, nicked tables out of the marquee and jumped into the lake. The bar got raided, led by Rob Warner. Told you he was a naughty man. In Gareth Bruin's pickup truck at Bala. Rude a felon. Went up the fire road on when you're not allowed to take your own uplift vehicle. Came zooming down the fire road, lost it, rolled it. like totally wrote off the pickup truck. You know, and they fell out. There people sat in the back of it and all sorts fell out. Man. You know, luckily no one was injured. But imagine Friday night. Oh yeah, 3 of the top junior riders have been killed. You know, and then the coaches blocked everyone in at the end and said we had to pay for their crankshafts or things like that, and they were going to get, like, the riders were going to smash the coaches up.
Si Paton, welcome to the Downtime podcast. Thanks for taking a trip over to this wonderful studio / spare room.
It's sunny. No, I will actually say Llangollen. I mean, I am from Birmingham, so I would normally say Llangollen, but in public I have to say Llangollen.
You spent enough time here over the years, so...
I have, you know. If you're going to see, I should have done my homework. If you're going to ask me, I think I first came here in probably 2009.
Yeah.
Do you know the history of Llangollen downhill?
I don't know, not from a riding perspective. Go on, give us a bit.
We're probably going off script already, but so I used to run before the BDS, British Downhill Series, it was called the MPS, National Point Series. We changed the name actually because people kept thinking it was a horse race. That is the truth. So myself and Steve Parr ran the series. Yeah. And him and Matt Simmons, one day, were having a drive around, and they drove along and they went up the hill, whatever that hill's called, which I can never pronounce. They went up that hill, and then really good. That's what you used to have to do back in the day. Have a scout round, find there's a hill. Oh my God, there's a road. There's a road that goes to the top. Knocked on some doors, found out who the farmer was, and there we go. Death Woods.
Yeah.
The first MPS that was there that Brendan Fairclough won it. He won it the second year as well. And I think about 60 riders went home on the Saturday morning.
Fair dues. It is unlike anything else at a race in the UK, I would say. That Top Woods, I've ridden the track next to the old BDS track, and that was enough of a wake up. Like,
you knew you were in trouble because Steve Pete's first practice run, he went straight over the bars and into the crash net, and everyone was stood there going, "Oh my goodness!" And Pete was, you know, on top of his game back then.
Yeah, and was always good on a first run as well. Steve's good at getting down the hill fast straight off.
Yeah, but that was a course. You know, I don't think there'd ever been there might have been a course in the UK, but where there was crash netting, but there was crash netting on every corner for the first 6 or 7 corners.
Pretty gnarly.
So I've been coming back to Llangollen for 14, 15 odd years. So
long time.
Yeah, it's nice to come back.
Good. Well, let's, I mean, you've got this huge wealth of experience in the mountain bike world, but let's just wind it back a little bit and get some background on you. You grew up in Birmingham. Tell us a little bit about, like, the early days of you and bikes. And I mean, it was before mountain bike was a thing, right?
Well, you say Birmingham, it's only 3.5 miles from the centre of Birmingham. It's Smethwick. It's actually the Black Country.
All right.
No, people might say, hold on, what's the Black Country? And it's actually because it used to be an industrial town area back in the day, and it was full of black smog. That's why it was called the Black Country.
Lots of foundries and
100%, exactly. Right by the canals. You know, if you walked to school, you know, you had a bad throat. the toxins were horrendous. Yeah, I never had hair. No, I did. Yeah, that I lost that in my 30s. So yeah, brought up in an area called Smethwick, which is quite a deprived area, to be honest. Single parent block of flats. 14-story block of flats. Then moved into the Masonettes, 3-story flats. Life was tough. Life was hard.
Yeah.
But I say to my kids now, you know, we had metal frame windows and there was ice on the inside. It was cold.
That's pretty chilly.
It was cold, you know, and we walked to school. It was like a long way, you know, but that's what you did back then.
Yeah.
But you know what? It didn't hurt.
No.
Toughened you up, prepared you for the years ahead. So, you know, and luckily I don't have ice on the inside of my windows anymore.
You're making progress. This is good.
If the electricity bills keep rising, I might have to. But we're in February now, so things
coming out the far side of it.
Things are getting a little bit warmer. So you know, it was an interesting time. You know, back in the day, like most kids, saw ET 1980. I'll say 82. Might have come out in 81, 82. But
around that.
Wow. Do you know what I mean? Watching E.T. and just the bike scene, the chase, like, gave me goosebumps. You know, luckily I got a really, you know, it was £90. That's what everyone got, a £90 BMX, a Moto 1. Which was just, it was like an entry-level rally burner sort of thing. It was a very entry-level bike. And but the days on that, you know, as kids, we'd go out, there'd be a group of us from the council estate, be like 20 strong. You'd have your jam sandwiches, you'd make your jam sandwiches, you know, and, you know, you couldn't buy a can of Coke, or, you know, you just took your own water with you. That was it. It was, that's what you went with. You didn't have any money. You couldn't ask your mum for some money. So I'm going to the chip shop. It's like, I'll do some jam sandwiches. and that's what you had. But there'd be 20 of you off to the local, not even a BMX track, just a place with some bomb holes
some
and
lumps.
Devil's Drop, it was called. The Billies used to go there. And I never forget going, and the trauma from it, you know. I wanted a number plate, but I couldn't afford a number plate, a Harrow number plate, which was probably about 10, 12 quid back then. I don't know, can't remember how much they were. And I remember getting an ice cream, the rectangular ice cream lid. I actually to this day will remember putting the screwdriver in the corners, bits of string, putting that on. I had a marker pen or some felt tips or something, and drew a number 7 on there and tried to draw an Oakley logo, you know, that old school Oakley logo. Got to the track place and I actually got ripped. I was 12-year-old, you know. I was small. I'm small now. I was smaller then. And I probably looked like I was about 9, and the big kids just ripped me apart. I remember going home crying. I rode home on my own crying. I was gutted. But yeah. It was tough back in the day. Yeah. But you know what? It makes you, it sets you up for life, that does.
Definitely.
You know? If you can handle that at 11, 12 years old.
Yeah.
Running events, being in a pub in the streets in Birmingham. You say what you want to me, it don't matter. You know? I got hurt when I was 11. You can't hurt me any more than that.
And there was an entrepreneurial streak from a young age when you're like saving bus money and using that to...
How do you know that?
Oh, mate, done my research.
That is true. You know what? As a kid, when I used to, it was 12p on the bus, and I used to work out if I walked that many bus stops, it was only 8p. And then if I walked back, you know, obviously from the other side, did that as well. So I'd save 4p. I'd save 8p a day. Yeah. And I was like, well, that's all right, isn't it? I do that. And I'll never forget being in the dinner hall. I'm sure they still have that in schools. Yeah. The old free. I was the only kid in my class that had free school dinners as well. That was a bit embarrassing, but yeah. If you were a single parent at a Roman Catholic school, that was unusual.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Because everyone else was married. Everyone else's mum and dad was together. Yeah. I had a bad dad. So yeah, I used to say to the dinner ladies, I remember I was probably like 10 and going to the dinner ladies. They used to stack the chairs and put them on top of the tables. Yeah. I'll be like, I'll do that for you in lunch, end of the dinner service. And I used to get 5 pence a day for stacking the chairs, put them on the tables. Yeah. So they could mop and clean up all the mess. I used to get 25p a week.
Nice. Plus the bus fare money.
And then when I went to senior school, big school, when you were like 11 years old, because the teacher strikes, which were on back then, the teachers didn't want to be in the playground. So you were allowed out. And everyone used to want to go to the chip shop, but they still did the school dinners. Yeah. So if you were on free school dinners, you got a dinner ticket, which was worth... It was 30p or something when I first started. I think when I left it would have gone up to about 50p after 5 years. So I used to be the kid that I was the Del boy. I was the kid. I'd buy the dinner ticket off you because a portion of chips was 20p. So kids just wanted a portion of chips. So I'd buy your dinner ticket for like 20p or whatever it was. You'd have enough money to go and get some chips, and then I'd sell your dinner ticket for another. I'd make 5, 10p on each dinner ticket and sell that. So I used to make a few quid a week.
Yeah, you'd started sussing it out.
Well, and then, of course, didn't really have anything to spend my money on except my BMX stuff, which back then was cheap and you didn't really break anything because I was only little and I wasn't really doing big jumps or drops. Yeah. So yeah, it just started from there. So I kind of been doing that ever since.
Awesome. Where does mountain biking fit in then? Do you remember like mountain biking becoming a thing?
Yes, that's a question that is. Do you know what Rad magazine is?
Yeah, the old BMX mag.
BMX, so it's BMX Action Bike turned into Rad magazine. Yeah. And they actually, well, interestingly, so before then, Rad Magazine started because Rad Magazine became Rad Magazine because of skateboarding.
Okay.
And there was an insert probably it was probably an 8-10 page insert with, I never forget Tony Magnuson.
No, I don't know the name.
Skater, big backside ollie out of a bowl.
Uh-huh.
And it was like, hold on, he's not holding on to it. What's like it was skating, you know, and it was those days, fluorescent colours, Ocean Pacific stuff, 5 swatches on each arm and an archic adjustment, and it was just this big thing down there, and it was like, wow. So I was actually a skateboarder for like a proper, you know,
okay,
I had a part-time job and just skateboarded every day, until I snapped my ankle off and had 2 operations, 10 pins and a metal plate, and that was kind of skateboarding's a dangerous game. You know, mountain biking's hard. Skateboarding's 100 times harder than mountain biking. Give a kid a skateboard and tell him to ollie up a curb. He's going to take him a month.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
it's hard going. But so they then did something in action. Maybe it was in Action Bike. Maybe it wasn't even in Rad Magazine. I remember seeing there was a black dude on a mountain bike. It was probably like a Rally Maverick or something like that, with those bull bars, you know, those sort of V bars with the, I think, is that what they're called, bull bars?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Like
I don't
a
know
funny
what the name
bar
is.
thing, you know, and it was like, and they weren't called mountain bikes, they were called ATBs, all-terrain bicycles.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, well, that was cool. And then a skater that I knew, he had a Carrera with like a U-brake thing down at the bottom, behind the bottom bracket, underneath.
Yeah.
For some strange reason, that was a good design at the time, and I bought that, and I used to ride to the skate park, Birmingham Wheels, to the mini ramps, the vert ramp and stuff, bowl there. I used to ride with that, and then suddenly thought, you know what, this is actually quite good. Being a city centre kid, living in a block of flats in a crap area, I could get out to my local woods, you know, which were half-hour ride away, Clent Hills.
Yeah,
and it was like, you know, I'd done enough of hanging around the city streets and the gutters, and actually to be out in the countryside and get away with it from everything was actually really liberating and just nice.
Yeah.
And then the people you met were like, but it was this, you know, we weren't road riders, we weren't clipped in.
Yeah.
You know, on a mountain bike, I'll never clip in, never ever clipped in. Still flat pedals. But yeah, it was like getting away from all that, and it was still being a rebel. It was like being a skater, a BMXer.
Yeah.
But not conforming to the road bike, and you know, everyone was in lycra and stuff, and you know, we started racing. Well, there was anything you could race was cross country.
Yeah,
yeah. But I used to race cross country, flat pedals, which is an interesting story because I moved to Liverpool. I met Nigel Page.
I was going to say this was your like early racing career was with Pagey, right?
I started early 90s, probably cross country early 90s.
Yeah,
racing things like Bob's Bash in Redditch.
Yeah,
yeah. Got banned. I'll never forget going up the finish straight, and there was a guy, and yeah, we might have elbowed him off the track into the crowd, and that might have happened. And Gary Brain, Peer Cycles, has got some videos of me racing cross country. I just used to knock people off.
The four-cross career was shaping up.
It was shaping up real nice. And the guy, Bob Meredith, Tracy Bourne Farm, yeah, he ran over to me at the end. He said, "I've never seen anyone ride like that before." I was like, "Oh, thanks." He went, "No, you're banned for life." So that was it. So my cross country days kind of finished then. But yeah, so I met Paige early '96. I moved to Liverpool.
Yeah,
I was managing a jean shop up there. And that I saw you had to go in the back of MBUK magazine, and it was like mountain bike groups, club things. It was Thatto Heath Wheelers, Thatto Heath somewhere near Warrington or St Helens, near Liverpool. And I went on a ride with them one Sunday morning, as you did. Met Nigel Page. Then we went to a Leisure Lakes. Leisure Lakes originally was in Preston Way, and there were like a windsurfing shop.
Okay.
And they had I think it was them, or it was there was a cross-country race. So me and Nigel Page both wearing a pair of Vans at a cross-country race. Everyone else is obviously in the devil pedals. No, maybe even toe clips.
Yeah, back then.
I used to race in toe clips.
Yeah.
Look them up, kids. Another devil machine effort. They were horrendous contraption. And then there was this guy, this little dude rocked up with a pair of Vans on. And he was like, "All right, as you did.
Yeah.
You know, back then, if someone had a Stussy t-shirt on, you know, you give them a little nod, a little wink. Do you know
Part
what I
of
mean?
the crew sort of thing.
Yeah. They knew. You know, it was like a pair of Vans, and it was, you know, they were old school Vans. You know, you could buy them from Cheshire Oaks for £5. Because it said on the box, made by hand, one by one, because that's the best way.
Wow.
Old checkered Vans that nobody wanted.
Yeah.
And they were £4.99 in Cheshire Oaks.
Amazing.
There's one of those outlet stores you could buy them for that, and it was like, so yeah, we started racing cross country with Pagey and Johnny Beckett.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know if anybody knows who Johnny Beckett is these days. It's
it's a shame that sort of side of things has faded out. But yeah, give us some background on that, because that's the first time, I guess, that you stepped away from being a normal person who then rode bikes to someone who was fully like involved in the bike world.
Yeah, so I met Johnny in '96. He was a good BMX racer back in the day from Northern Ireland. I think he had a connection with Pagey, because Pagey was a top BMX racer back in the day. Like when he was like 9 or 10, he was British champion. I mean, he's obviously still really good now, but he was mustard then. And so Johnny Beckett was like, I'm going to run a website. It was like, all right. Kind of, it was the dawn of that age, you know, for websites. And this was when like MBUK, Dirt Magazine would only have, and magazines would only have a landing page, and the landing page would just be almost like a blank page. So our next issue is out, and there'd be maybe a picture of the front cover, you know, on the 5th of next month. Yeah. And that was it, you know, and there'd be this bike or an interview with this person. And that would be it. So we started doing race reports. He said, do you want to come and do it? And I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And I just used to go to, as I was based in the Midlands, so I'd go down to sort of before the Peer Series, it was called the Midlands Super Series. Yeah. And then Jason Carpenter, amazing, he did the Dragon Downhills, which was just like, well, we talk about Llangollen steep tracks. You'd go to a Dragon Downhill.
It was next level, eh?
Oh, you'd get to that, in practice, the first run down, you get to the third corner, and there'd be 50 people stood there. You'd be like, whoa. What's happening? And you'd be like, oh right, okay. You know, I never forget, Scott Beaumont said to me, he said, you were fastest through that section. I said, I got off and ran. He said, yeah, you were the fastest through there. Diagonal routes, you know, this high, like, you know, I remember falling off 7 times in my race run, and I still got second.
Mad, eh?
Like, I am not telling the truth. Yeah, I'm not lying there. That is the truth. 7 times in a race run I fell off. Because you couldn't get down the course. Second, you'd stand there and go, wow. So we used to do those race reports for people like, well, obviously for the website, which was great because you got your name out there. And this was like dial-up times, you know, the modem, beep, 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 beep. And you'd only want to load 2 or 3 pictures. I had a very, well, in this, it was a HP camera. Don't even ask me what megapixels it was, you know.
1 or something.
It was almost had a floppy, floppy disk inside.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite that bad, but it was the memory on it was, I couldn't even tell you what it was. It was probably like, well, it wouldn't have been gig, would it? It'd have been like meg. I don't even know what it would have been. It was
tiny.
It was terrible. It was really poor quality pictures. You'd put 2 or 3 pictures up. You'd write the race report. You know who won, a couple of the results, and that was a great way to get into the industry. Just to get your foot in the door. You know, and I wasn't that good to get sponsored, really. I wasn't that fast. I was all right. I could ride a bike, but it was, people were fast then. People were fit and healthy. People pedaled.
Yeah.
You know, there were some brilliant riders, you know, as there are now, but
yeah, it was a good era.
There was a lot of good, everyone at the track was good.
Yeah.
They were all good riders back then. So yeah, that was the birth of the Tinternet, really, Descent World. Back in the day, yeah,
good few years ago. And Descent gear, did that kind of come off the back of the whole Descent World thing? Like, how does that fit in?
Well, it's a similar name, obviously. Descent, decent gear, sort of thing. So I had a bike. I did have a bike shop, but then it all went downhill. Overheads, costs. So we used to go to bike races. I was like, well, I'm going to the bike races anyway. And then I got sponsored by, I think, Maxxis. This is when Maxxis used to just do the Max Pro tire with that. Remember the orange band around the tyre, 60A hard compound, rock hard they were, and they were distributed by Rally. And the bloke from Rally went, "Do you want an Easy Up?" I went, "Yeah, hell yeah, I'll have a Maxxis Easy Up." Yeah, I had some tyres, and you know, you used to put your tyres out, and I used to lock. So I'm from Birmingham, I lock everything out. I used to lock them out, and people go, "How much are them, mate?" I'll be like, "Oh, they're not for sale." Well, hold on.
Maybe they are.
Remember me old bus ticket and dinner ticket days? They're definitely for sale. How many do you want, mate? And he was like, and I was like, I could sell these. So I went back to Raleigh and went, can I open an account? And they went, oh, you haven't got a shop, because everyone wanted a bricks and mortar shop, and they didn't really get stuff. You know, there was no internet sales really back then. Not as far as I'm aware. So I just started selling Max's tires, and I was the tire guy.
Yeah,
you know. And then I started, then got sponsored by Spy Goggles. Again, we ran the Descent World team. I don't know. I tried to get Josh Bryson on that, but we slightly missed out on him. But we supported Danny Hart back in the day originally, people like that. But we had this. We went to the races. We had a van, the old Sprinter van that had done about 8 million miles. That was dangerous. Big awning on it, and just sold, stack them high, watch them fly. Yeah,
and it was the place where there was certain stuff that was pretty much the only place you could get it from was from you guys. Like Troy Lee stuff was hard to get hold of then. And
so we would stack up like Troy Lee helmets. You know, I remember when the D3 first came out, I put an 18 grand order in, trade price. Yeah, you know, and literally bought every D3 that came in. But, you know, so I went to the races, and you wanted a D3 helmet, you wanted a Leah helmet, you wanted Troy Lee gloves. Max's tyres, 2 for £40.
Bargain. Can you imagine how many of your hands you get bitten off for that now?
Yeah, you're 80 quid a tyre now, aren't you? 80 quid in. So we sold a lot of tyres. We'd sell, it was only Chain Reaction that sold more tyres than us. Yeah. But we would buy bundles of 25 tyres at a time. But you come to a race, people would buy them, you know. We'd get to the Mega Avalanche and people would be like waiting. They'd be phoning, are you on the way? Yeah, I'm by Grenoble, you know, I'm 2 hours away. We'll be there. But so we sold a lot of tires. We did all right.
So Descent World and Descent Gear are going pretty well. What happened to kind of change path a little bit and head off into race organisation? I believe it was a young Mr. Warner had something to do with it.
You are right there. You have done your research. Yeah, Rob Warner's to blame. We went to Cumcarn. You know, it's hard being a race organizer, so I don't really want to criticize, but the uplift was, you know, it was terrible. It was terrible. There was big waves. Don't get me wrong, I had the same problem at Llangollen last year. You know, the uplift, we thought what we'd booked and ordered, and didn't work out. But anyway, these things happen. But this was this particularly bad, and even one of the vans fell, crashed into the bank, a Luton van. And I tell you what, if it had gone the other way, there'd have been people dead, because it would have gone down the hill. Luckily, it fell into the bank. It was like everyone screamed. We were in the van behind. Yeah. And Rob Warner was going crazy. There was a woman on the uplift, bless her, and Rob Warner made her cry.
Oh, no.
Bad man, that Rob Warner. He's a bad man. And he went, Si, you'd do a better job than this, because he'd obviously seen me organising, doing the website and having the shop and stuff like that. And I was like, and everyone's going, why don't you organise it? We're all stood in the queue. I mean, it just rained all day. Everyone was soaking wet. I was like, all right, okay, yeah, I'll do it. I'll have a go. So then I teamed up with Steve Parr, who'd mentioned earlier. Yeah. He was based in the Midlands sort of things. He'd run a round of the Midlands Super Series. That's when they had a different race director for each race there. So he sort of knew what he was doing on the race side of things. He was good with a shovel. I was good at more, my side of things was obviously on the promotion, and that's sort of more the detailed elements of the racing. I'd also become a commissaire, because I was sick to death of my mate cheating and beating me, Paul Slater. So I thought he kept getting 3 runs Slater, we used to call him. He used to fall off, and because he was a big bloke, he used to go up to the commissaire and say, he'd say, so, you know, a dog had ran across the track or something, he'd get another run. And then he beat me on his 3rd run the one day, and I was like, right, I'm going to be a British cycling commissaire. So I thought, I'm going to know the rules now. So I knew that's more. I knew some of the race behind the scenes, because as a race, you don't know the ins and outs of
what's
it.
Going
Marshalling, taping, red flags, yellow flags, radios, medics. There's a whole lot of mess that you have to bundle together. So we organised the MPS National Point Series for 3 years.
Yeah. What kind of state was it in when you picked it up?
It was in a mess. There was about 15 elite riders would come. We picked it up, and the previous organiser hadn't paid the bills for the previous year. When I went to order skips, crowd barriers, toilets, things like that. Oh, you still haven't paid from last year? No. But, you know, you're the MPS because that's what he was called.
Yeah.
It was called the MPS.
Yeah,
it was the
National Point Series. Yeah.
It was like, no, we're the new MPS. But well, it's the same company. No, it's not the same company, mate. It's a different company. But yeah, so it just got run into the ground. Which could lead on to the commentating side. The organiser of that, he used to do the commentating, the timing, and organise the race. So we sat in these gazebo at the finish line, handling all of that. And that's when I said to him, hold on, the commentating wasn't that good. I was like, give me the microphone, I'll do it. And because it was just terrible. Yeah, I mean, he couldn't organise a race and do the timing.
Yeah, it's a lot to take on. Yeah.
That's at least three people's jobs, not just one. So yeah, that's when I took that off him. And yeah, so we picked it up, we ran it for 3 years, and we lost money for the first 3 years. You know, we walked out of that, Steve left, and we were $7,000 in the hole, which I had to foot the bill. Yeah. That was tough times because I couldn't afford to, I refunded everyone in the end. I couldn't afford to refund the people who wanted refunds. I couldn't afford to put fuel in my van. It was, we lost money, you know. So yeah, that was tough times for me at that point. Then we met up with a good old friend who's Dave Franziosi.
Okay.
Who used to work in a scrapyard. I used to run Southern Downhill.
Yeah, okay.
Which was the other website.
Yeah, to Descent World, yeah.
But they had this is when people had forums. Remember the forums? Yeah. Everyone would be on the forums.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing. And then I teamed up with him. And you know what? Dave, probably the cleverest guy in mountain biking. You know, the bluntest, perhaps the rudest, but told you the truth and was just fantastic at bringing in sponsors, and just delivering events. You know, I took care of the finish line upwards, and the internet side of things. He took care of like the sponsors and the trade stands, the caterers. So we were a good team, and we ran that for 3 years. Mm-hmm. And so he brought in Halo. He then worked for Ison Distribution. Halo as a distributor. Ison as the distribution that sponsored it with Halo wheels, which is the first real good sized cash injection, and really lifted and promoted the event. Yeah, you know, and 4 out of the 5 events were UCI. I think the one year we gave away $17,000 in prize money, cash, pound notes. Prize money was great. Yeah. You know, the UCI points was good. We ran a really, really good event. And that's when we started getting to people to come along like Monster Energy. Yeah. We were the first British race series to give equal prize money to women. Uh-huh. We started off then, the one year we gave all the posters. We used to go around the town like a month before and put posters out and flyers. That was all women that one year. Yeah. This was like 10, 12 years ago, promoting women's attendance at the races. We did that. Yeah. They've come up with some really good ideas, like if you won the series as the elite, he was the elite male at the time, but then you were the cover shot, the cover boy, you know, on all the posters, on our stickers and stuff that we did. So I think Mark Beaumont won it at least once. So, you know, and that was good for his sponsors. I can't remember, he was on GT at the time. But yeah, so Dave was very good at the promotional side of things, and it really helped lift the status of the series to become, I never said this, but a lot of people would say it was the sort of the premier national series around the world, you know, because things like in America, like the Norbers, they died a death. There was obviously some great things like the Maxis Cup were brilliant. Yeah. But really around the world, it's just the Brits were dominating. You know, it was a great time for the Brits to be racing, and the BDS, the British Downhill Series at the time, was the catalyst for that. You know, people were coming in strong. People like Danny Hart were coming up through the ranks, Josh Bryceland, and I can't remember the year, but it was the 3 British women. Manon won gold. Yeah, Rachel got second, or Tani got second or third, and then in the men's, did G win it and Bryson got second or something like that? It was like the 3 women were Brits and the top 2 male players. Was that 2014?
Right. The year that Josh broke his foot. Was it that year?
I'm too old to remember these. People throw dates at me and I'm like, I have no idea. When you've been around that, it's
seen so much of it.
My brother's really good. He says, "Oh yeah, that was that year Sam Hill was riding this bike, and he did this, and he fell off on that." I'm like, "How do you remember that?" But when you're like 10 or 12, you remember that stuff. Like I remember stuff like about E.T. and films like that and those eras and those BMX races back in the day. But it all, it gets a bit cloudy. Yeah.
But the scene was going well, right? You were bringing riders in, like you had, riders like Sam Hill, Emmeline Rago, like come into.
Yeah, we had Sam Hill at Coombe Sydenham, Fort William National. We'd put it on a month before the World Cup. I would spend a lot of time going on the UCI website, finding all the UCI team managers around the world and emailing them directly, messaging them, going, come along, bring your van. I'd find places for them to store their juggernauts. They could even get them serviced over here while they needed to, stuff like that. So I really made it very easy for those international riders. So I think the one year we had 96 riders at Fort William National. And we had Marcelo Gutierrez coming from Colombia. I had Troy Brosnan coming over. So people they didn't come for the national, they came for the practice for the World Cup, which was a month later.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting because you think you've done an absolutely amazing job. And I never forget one kid's dad come up to me where I'm not happy. You've got Finn Isles was there. And I think he just won the whip off and he was junior world champion.
Yeah. Okay.
Finn Isles is here. I was like, yeah, it's good, isn't it? He went, no. He's going to beat my son.
What?
And I was like, well, yeah, maybe on paper, but what an experience to, son, get in front of Finn Isles on the chairlift, right?
Yeah.
Blast down to the top of the motorway section, right? See him come in and then jump on his tail, like follow him down the motorway section. I mean, he might be race speed, he might be whipping it out, but what an experience that is to follow, the junior world champion, you as a junior. You can't get on the football pitch with David Beckham.
Exactly.
You can't get on the racetrack with Lewis Hamilton. You could do that at a BDS and people would moan at you.
Well, I was going to say mountain bikers are pretty good at complaining. You've had your fair share of it over the years. How do you deal with that? And what were the big complaints when you were in charge of things? Like uplift wait times is always one of the biggies.
Uplift is always a problem. We've been at we were at Riola the one year, and there's probably 5 coaches, and 3 of the coaches broke down.
Which you can't really account.
And you're
for
like,
that.
wow, and then the coaches blocked everyone in at the end and said we had to pay for their crankshafts or things like that, and they were going to get the riders were going to smash the coaches up. Because they blocked the exit at Riola to get out.
Jeez.
The coach, we paid in advance for Scotland for the coaches. This coach company, and they sent some VIP coaches. So the VIP coach drivers turned up and went, "You lot ain't getting on here," and they went home. Then we had to get some more coaches in, stuff like that. Oh yeah, it's always, it's always a problem. Even at a place like Malfrey, we've had the tractor drivers specifically told by the farmers that the farmer organizer don't go down that part of the hill, and they've rolled the tractor. Luckily, the tractor driver was in the tractor.
Yeah,
he survived. He was all right, a bit bruised, but yeah. So the uplifts are always a nightmare. But I wouldn't say death threats, but I've had letters saying of pro riders, emails of pro riders. One local to here, actually. I won't mention his name. It's old news. But, we hate you. Everyone hates you. The day you stop doing the national series will be the best day ever. Open letters for Dave and myself saying how we were racist, and stop phoning the air ambulance. Well, you can't phone the air ambulance because when you phone 999, it's fire, police, ambulance or Coast Guard, and just sending open letters to sponsors, just saying how much we disliked in the scene and what a bad job we're doing. But you look at the results and the people that we're attracting. I mean, I don't do it to make friends.
Yeah.
It's like being the England football manager. You don't do it to make friends, and, people don't like you because you do go into the field, and say to them, can you stop doing donuts in your car? Yeah. At 8:00 at night, there's kids around and dogs, women and children. Yeah. Of course, Cy Payton's a little Hitler. I hate him. Well, he didn't say why. Yeah, it's because, you were doing donuts. Yeah, you took it upon yourself. You got to imagine, you go to a race, you got 300 people, 300 testosterone-filled riders, from the male side of things. They're all hyped up, jacked up, and you've got to control them.
Yeah.
It wasn't my race, but I can say this now, it's a long time ago. People like Sam Dale, Josh Bryceland, went up in Gareth Bruin's pickup truck at Bala, Ruda Felon, went up the fire road on when you're not allowed to take your own uplift vehicle, came zooming down the fire road, lost it, rolled it. like totally wrote off the pickup truck, and they fell out. There people sat in the back of it and all sorts fell out.
Man.
Luckily no one was injured, but imagine Friday night, 3 of the top junior riders have been killed at the event, at the mountain bike race.
It's not a good look, is it?
No, the race would have been cancelled.
Yeah.
It would have stopped, So yeah, you're never going to make friends doing, if you're going thinking about being a mountain bike organiser, you're not going to make any friends because you are spending half your time telling people to do stuff that they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
And then, walking up the course, no helmet on, riding down the course. I've had people riding down the course with no helmet on.
Ridiculous.
I get people getting to the top of the course. Where's your number board? It's in my pocket. Well, do you think it's probably a good idea to put it on your bike? We've had people turn up in the finish arena, and you wake up in the morning on a Saturday morning and there's someone camped. They got the van in the finish arena. And you're like, that's the finish line, mate. Have you parked there?
Amazing.
So yeah, it's never easy being a race organizer. It's brilliant. There's so many good people there, so many people that are appreciative, but you are spending half your time asking people, not to park their car there.
Yeah.
But I'm with him, and why has he parked his car there? Oh, he's gone up the course. Where's his keys? That he's got his keys on him. Well, think about was waiting to park there. He's parked in the trade stand area. Yeah, he'll be back in an hour. Thanks.
Amazing.
Thanks for that, mate. Cheers.
Let's talk about the money side of it then, because that's the other thing that people often kind of complain about, like the cost of a race. And where all that goes, obviously you see the other side of it, right? The amount of investment and effort that goes into making that race happen.
I mean, I actually did an open letter where I actually published my costs, where this was probably 5-6 years ago. The average cost of a British Downhill National Series was 30 grand. And everyone's going, because people were moaning about the price. And it was like, but the income's 25 grand. The race entries are 25 grand. I'm spending 5 grand more.
Yeah.
Then, so where do I get that money from? From spectators?
Just pull the mic up.
From spectators, from sponsorship side of things. It was self-funded as well, with the likes of Descent Gear there was helping to, pay for my costs of being there as well. So yeah. I always come out with the same story, which some people will have heard of before with close friends. I always say, prime example, when we put a race on at Bala, Ruda Felon, which is a mile down the road from Revolution Bike Park. May she rest in peace. Yes. Hopefully she'll be back. Hopefully, fingers crossed, she'll be back. Brilliant, baby. But, you would pay, and no disrespect, it's £45 for an uplift at the moment, I guess, for an uplift for the day. So if you took your son or daughter to Revolution, today, if it was open and it was like, did 2 days there, it's 90 quid, and you went, all right, son, what's going on down there? There's a load of bikers going that way. Oh, yeah, Dad, there's a national downhill race there. Oh, why aren't we doing that? Oh, it's a rip-off, Dad. It's 95 quid. It's really expensive. Okay, well, so we're going to have a look after, finish up on Sunday and go and watch the elites ride down and final runs. Oh, yeah. So we've just paid 90 quid to do the uplift for 2 days. So the race now to do this is 95 quid. Well, if you were clever and a businessman or an accountant, you might go, he's got 30 marshals at 50 quid each a day. That's 100 quid. That's 3 grand. He's got medics here, proper medic team here. That's 3 odd grand. He's got a proper timing team here. That's another 3 grand. He's got all these crowd barriers. There's £1,000. He's got all these toilets here. He's got his commentator. He's got a shed load of prize money. Yeah. All the other infrastructure that goes into place as well to put the event up, the poles, marking out the track. There's a significant cost. That's at least, if you actually work that out on top of the uplift, it's another 15-20 grand. So really those race fees should be 150 quid. And you could say, like, you look at an EWS I was commentating at the one in Scotland, it was 100, fair enough, I don't complain about the price, it's 170 quid for the weekend. Yes, there's several courses, but there's no uplift, so it kind of equates. Yeah. Marking out 7 courses, 7 lots of time in, marshals, etc. It kind of, I'm guessing, running enduro races, it kind of works itself out. But yeah, a downhill race should be 150 quid. You turn up at a downhill race today, that race organizer ain't rolling around ain't driving turn up in a Ferrari. It's the worst job in the world to have. You'd probably earn better money working at McDonald's.
Mad, isn't it? So what covers, is it like sponsorship that covers that deficit?
For me, that's what I did. I had some really good sponsors, but then if you ask me why I had some really good sponsors, because I had really good promotion. You know, we would do a video on Pink Bike. You know, we would have a team of people there, like GBB Media. They'd be there for 2-3 days. They'd produce a 10-12 minute, a proper video with graphics on there, with the names of the riders.
Yeah,
we'd do stuff like that. A lot of social media side of things. So for us, the more we publicised the event, my money always came from the sponsorship. The race fees paid for the race, really. That was always the golden plan. And rightfully so. Then the harder I work on the sponsorship and bring the sponsorship money in, the more money I earn. So the more I promote it, the more money I get.
Yeah, makes sense.
And if I turn up in a Ferrari, which I haven't got, albeit well, you've still had a great race. You still turned up there. At the time, you got as many cans of Monster Energy as you wanted. Shimano or SRAM were there. My brother had brand new set of lowers because they were broken. They didn't know he was my brother. He was racing at the time. He paid whenever it was probably 80 quid then to race. But you could turn up there. You'd have free support from the like Silverfish with E13 chain devices. You smashed your chain device, they'd put a new one on for you, or new parts. They'd replace what you had. Shimano would be there. You snapped your brake lever, they'd put a new one on for free. New rear derailleur. Well, that was you could almost enter the race with a knackered bike. Don't say I said this. Rolled around in the field, got a bit of mud on you, and rolled up with your number board on and go, I've just snapped this, mate. And they'd have put a brand new rear derailleur on, which would have been more expensive
than your race entry.
You were quids. My brother had 1,000 quid's worth of work done. The crank brothers were there supporting you with pedals. Things like that. They would service your pedals for you. Unfortunately, that sort of stuff doesn't happen anymore.
No. And you guys even invested in a satellite, right? So you could, social media was quite, you were probably one of the first organisers to really make the most of that.
Yeah, so I bought a satellite dish, and then you had to, which the worst thing about that was trying to get a signal.
Because you've got to find exactly what you've got to point it at. Yeah,
it's like throwing a dart from here and hitting the bullseye about 100 metres away. And you would be there for it was never 5 minutes. It was at least an hour to 2 hours. Beep, 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 trying to lock that signal in. But then, of course, the beauty of that being stood in a field in the middle of nowhere was for me, from a safety point of view, is I could phone an ambulance. Let alone the girlfriend or the wife. But you could phone an ambulance. But also then it allowed you, obviously, from social media point of view, So I would be there in the finish line, and you do that quick. Here comes Joe Smith. And he was good because he would always do a big stoppie across the finish. He'd always do that. So here comes Joe Smith, and that video would get back then 30. I remember it getting 35,000 views. Awesome. On Facebook, which was, and our Facebook page probably then had 8,000-9,000 followers. I mean, I'm talking maybe 10 years ago. Wonder what it'd get now.
Who knows?
But so that was really good for getting the results up and out straight away. Investing in that. We did actually then invest in some fiber optic cables. We had a deal with GoPro through Madison, some static camera GoPros on tripods, with a control in the back of my van. I mean, on a shoestring. And we had that on Freecaster. But Freecaster was like, oh, boys, it's not working because it was terrible quality. Do you know what I mean? It was literally camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, and we had a cameraman in the finish arena. So all the profits from that year went on that. So we didn't make any money at all. I didn't make any money at all that year from that series. And we just got absolutely slated. Oh, it's the footage is crap. Well, I'm doing it out the back of my van for peanuts. I haven't got £100,000 to do this properly. So unfortunately the haters, they stopped that, which is a shame because if it had got better, and obviously with technology every year would have been getting better, and even just the new things do you remember Periscope? Do you ever know what Periscope?
The
Periscope?
Original live stream.
The original live stream thing. So we were one of the first to sign up to Periscope, and we were getting some good numbers on Periscope. But just the problem is everyone was always so negative. People didn't realise what we were delivering for them. The support that they got and the coverage that they got at the event was huge.
So what ultimately led you to kind of step away from it? Was it a frustration or?
No, it was British cycling.
Okay.
So if you remember, Sky sponsored British Cycling. Everywhere there was the Sky logo. It was all about the velodrome, let's be honest. It was all about that side of things, which is fine. So there was never a Sky logo on the number board or on the finish line or on the website or anything. They had they didn't want any involvement. So HSBC, so the Sky year dropped after 7 years. It finished, which was fine. That's how it was going to happen. HSBC came on board, title sponsor. It was like brilliant. But they want to be title sponsor. Part of the deal is they want to be title sponsor of every series and every national series. So it's HSBC National BMX Series, Cyclocross, 4-cross series, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, I was like, wow, yes, right. We are going to get wow, this is going to be a pot of gold. We're going to, the series is going to be huge. How much money are they going to give us? None. All right, okay. But so they want, it's got to be the HSBC National Series on the number boards, on the, everywhere. It's that they're the title sponsor.
Yeah.
Well, where's the money then? Well, right, where's my money? Where, I run this series on the sponsorship money, and GT were the title sponsor at the time. So I said, well, so can GT be the presenting sponsor? Because GT were like, look, if HSBC is at the top, GT doesn't mind being at the bottom. Because obviously being HSBC, it should be lifted a higher presence, a high profile. Yeah. No, you can't have GT. It's just HSBC. I was like, well, I can't run the series. That's my...
Yeah, financially doesn't work anymore.
It doesn't. I can't afford to do it without my sponsorship side of things. No. So that's it. So I was like, well, I have to leave it then. So I was gutted. I was like, that's a wounder. So we had to stop it. So I went back to GT. And so Clive Goslin, who's the marketing director at CSG, Cycling Sports Groups, which at the time owned GT, Mongoose, Cannondale. Yeah. There was Schwinn as well, perhaps. And he said, well, we want to sponsor you next year. I've got the money allocated for next year for the series. And he went, why don't you bring back the Malverns? I went, what? He went, the Malverns. He said, everyone likes a festival. There isn't a bike festival. He said, I'll give you the money for that. I was like, all right. You sure? And he went, yeah. So I literally, that day, I got on the phone to Eastnor Castle, was like, hello. Mountain bike event, festival, the Malverns. And he went, yeah. Oh, yeah, we used to do that back in... So it ran from 1989 to 1999, ran for 10 years. And I was like, yeah, cool. Yeah, let's do it. I thought, well, it can't be hard, can it? It's a race, isn't it? Instead of having 10 toilets, I'll just have 100 toilets. Instead of having one skip, I'll have 10 skips. Instead of 100 crowd barriers, I'll have 500 crowd barriers. Instead of that size marquee, can we make it a bit longer, a bit bigger? How hard can it be? So yeah, that's Clive Goslin is the guy to thank for bringing the Malverns back. Yeah. He actually stumped the money up front and allowed me to do it. So I was like, wow, that's great. So that's why I've got such an affiliation with GT. Yeah. And personally with Clive as well. He's like, anything you do, we'll back it. Yeah, he's got that confidence. And I love that because there's so many brands out there and it's great that they sponsor riders and stuff. And like I say to him, that's great. You've sponsored... And I spoke to Cliff Barbary from Dirt Wars, who's the National Dirt Jump Series, and he was down at Core Bike Show at the weekend. Yeah. And he was talking to brands. They, no, but we sponsor these guys. They come to your event. They race, they ride, they jump at your event. He said, but there won't be an event.
If the event's not funded. Yeah.
Like, you've always got to have sponsored riders. That's fine. Yeah. But people still have to sponsor the event organisers. Because without us, we don't build that shelf, you can't put anything on it. Yeah. And that's what... There's always been a massive bugbear for me that some brands are just like, no. But then some brands really embrace it. And I think you should support the brands that are putting on those events. Yeah. And it's Pierce Cycles, perfect example. There's 300 riders sold out. Pierce Cycles, fantastic regional series, best regional series in the world, 100% guaranteed. But then, why isn't all the 300 riders that are sitting there buying their bikes and bits and pieces from Pierce Cycles? Because they should be.
Yeah, fair.
Because they're the ones that are there putting on that event. Yeah. And they're putting a brilliant event. Why are you not supporting them? Yeah. You should be supporting Pierce Cycles. In fact, that's the last year of running the series this year.
I did hear that rumour, which is sad.
Somebody might be taking it on, whether the brother or his son or somebody might be doing something. I don't know.
Good to see it continue.
Oh, 100%. 100%. That'll be a massive loss. So yeah, that's where the Malverns erupted from. And 2018, after a 19-year break, spoke with Jay Hardy, who originally ran the series. I mean, he went through a number of different changes and that. It was really like McLean Cycles, and Dennis, the guy that used to originally own it and run it, and then it was through Jay Hardy. So I got his permission. He was happy. He was cool. Like he said, you know what? So many people have asked in the past, and nobody's had the balls. I say stupidity to bring it back. And he said, you're the only one that's actually put your cock on the block and actually gone ahead and done it. Which was, a lot of things happened personally for me at the time. I lost the BDS series through the sponsorship side of things. I had a lot of trauma at home with, I say the wife, but, so that all went this way with kids and stuff. So, but financially that set me up. My mum died a week later after that news. I literally had a month of lost the BDS. The wife ran off. And then my mum died and brought me up, and I was in an absolute mess, which I do have to thank Clive Gosling for again, because I phoned him. I said I just need an e-bike. It's when e-bikes. Yes, when I used to get a lot of abuse riding an e-bike. 2018, people hated you. People spat at you and stuff like that. And I phoned him up and said, "Dude, I need an e-bike. I need to put my headphones on and helmet and get into the woods on my own." And he said, "Don't buy one." I said, "I'll just send you one." And he saved my life, because I was in
it was getting dark.
I was in a mess. I was in a real horrible mess.
Yeah.
But e-bikes, you can say you hate them all day long, but it got me out. Yeah. Just rain or shine.
Why e-bike? Just, was it a lack of fitness, or just because you wanted to get out on?
I just wanted to get away from everyone.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I just wanted to go out in the woods on my own and just do laps.
Yeah.
Just use it like a yo-yo. I blew that bike up. I destroyed it. I think I went through 3 motors on it. Excuse me. A cool bike show, shaking hundreds of people's hands. I picked up a cool bike, lurgy.
The cool bike
virus.
Cold.
Yeah. But yeah, the e-bikes, fantastic.
Yeah, they're good bits of kit, to be fair.
I'd rather ride a normal bike.
Yeah.
Flick it around and buy it. But the e-bikes, I only use it as a yo-yo. It's a downhill. It's an up and down machine. That's all it's used for. I don't do cross-country laps. It's up and down.
Nice.
Multiple laps. Love it.
So Malverns then, was it as simple as just ordering a few extra skips and a few extra toilets?
Did you say Malverns or Malverns?
I said Malverns, and I should say Malverns.
If you're from Malvern, it's Malvern. If you're from down south, it's the Malverns. I don't know why. They still say that. Everyone still says it, yeah. And the Malverns. Sorry, say it again.
Was it as easy as just getting a few extra skips and a few crowd barriers?
No,
I can imagine it wasn't.
It was a nightmare.
Tell us about that first year.
First year was really interesting. 105 trade stands. Trade was like, fantastic idea. Let's do it. We're in. I was like, brilliant. A month before, we had sold 300 tickets.
And what would you have hoped to have sold? A few thousand.
3,000.
Yeah.
So I was like going to lose everything like that. And then a week before, on the Monday, I'd only sold 900 tickets. And I was like, I'm in trouble here. Like, I'm not going to be able to pay the bills.
Yeah.
Because I had to borrow some, because when you buy on a festival, so the ticket money, you buy a ticket today for a festival, you don't buy it off me, you buy it off the ticket agent. Mm-hmm. So your deal is with the ticket agent. The ticket agent won't give me that money until a week after the event. Not because I'm from Birmingham, it's because I might, in the past, people have run off to South America and get the money. So they don't give you the money until a week after the event. So it's all about every business, cash flow.
Yeah.
So you obviously have to do a little bit of wheelie dealing. All above board and honest, of course. Sold a kidney. But yeah, you have to fund that up front.
Yeah.
Because I want to put this big event on. It's a few $100,000 to put on.
I was going to say it's a lot of money.
Who's going to fund? Who's backing you? So you have to get some cash from somewhere, because we don't know you. They all want paying up front in advance. So that's the huge risk. And then I said on the Monday, I'd only sold 900 tickets. What we did the late ride. And we got someone to ride the late ride and fall in. That video got 95,000 views on Thursday, maybe on the Wednesday. But by Thursday, it got 95,000 views. Yeah. Because I think they don't want to see the late ride, people riding across. And I said to this lad, Mitch, I said, dude, you got to, you're falling in. That's the video.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't have fell it. He's a great rider. He fell it, which was great. And I think that combined with the video of, I was driving around in my pickup truck, and there's the marquee, and we had a massive marquee, and there's and people were going, oh, wow. And then on Friday, I was crying. I stopped looking at the because you start looking every day, every hour almost. And I was in like, I was in a mess. I was
because you've got this huge bill coming that you can't pay, right?
I'm in like 200 grand in debt. I'm gonna have to go bankrupt. Like, and all of a sudden, on the Friday afternoon, I went to the ticket person, the lady, and I was like, there's a lot of people here. Like, I thought there was going to be like 1,000 people there.
Yeah.
And she went, ticket sales last night, I don't know what you did, but ticket sales went like that. So I think combined with the video, the late ride, me doing that video, and the people that turned up must have phoned home and gone, you got to get here. Like, this is going to be all right.
Yeah. So
we had 3,500 people year one. Don't get me wrong. The caterers on the Monday were like, how many people you got coming? Got 900 so far, mate. Probably going to be about 1,500 to 2,000 people. Well, we ain't coming. Please, can you come? No, I ain't coming there, mate. I've got something on by me. We'll do that instead.
Wow.
So we went from 6 caterers down to 3. So, of course, the biggest complaint in the first year, and it's quite funny because loads of people come up to you and go, there wasn't enough caterers. Yeah, I do know that.
I'm aware.
I was aware of that. I know there was a big queue. I'm sorry. When did you book your ticket? Oh, Thursday. It's a bit like having a party at my house, yeah, and 10 people say they come in and I've got enough sausage rolls for 10 people, yeah, and then 30 people turn up, so then everyone complains on Facebook, I went to size party, there wasn't enough sausage rolls, it was shit. So it's stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't forecast that, and you can't tell you have to be honest with the caterers and get them to come.
Yeah.
I could have lied to them, but yeah, some of them are a bit... Yeah, that'd beat me up.
But it went well that first year.
Year one went very well. So great success. Obviously, loads of cracks, loads of things to iron out. But it was the first year. Everyone had a good time. The weather was pretty dry. It was all good fun. Year 2, don't worry. 2019 is gonna be brilliant. And it started to rain.
And it rained.
And it rained a lot, and then it carried on raining.
What stage were you at? Like, was the build basically done? Like,
build was done. So we were in there on the Saturday. I should have known on the Sunday because I was there on the Sunday. It was supposed to be a bright, sunny day.
Yeah.
I turned up in shorts and t-shirt and it hailed. And everyone was like, what's going on? We were huddled under a tree and it was hailing. It was June. It was like, what's going on? And it just tipped it down. And at no point did we even think this isn't going ahead.
Yeah.
And then on the Thursday morning, we arrived on site and got there and the bottom of the field was flooded. And it was like, because it rained all, but the weather forecast was
yeah.
It was like, this isn't supposed to be happening. The roads outside were flooded, like in the middle of June.
Jeez.
People couldn't get in. Scott Beaumont said, I can't get in. The roads are flooded all outside. Can't get into the venue.
Yeah.
I was like, well. So yeah, the field, and then the organiser the estate manager came over that we deal with, and he was actually going to tell us that we were going to have to cancel.
Yeah.
Because it would have wrecked all the fields. And I said, he walked over, I said, I'm cancelling it. And he was like, I'm glad you said that because I was going to tell you to cancel it. So, I mean, we got people like, a couple of some key people there. There's people like Rory from Upgrade, Rory Hitchens, old school dude. And I just said, look, we're going to have to pull it. So we just pulled it. We cancelled it.
How does that work then? Like, what's insured, what's not? Like, how does that loss hit you?
Sold my house.
Right.
Still renting a house.
Yeah.
Refunded everyone that wanted a refund, traders, and all the punters. What is insured? Luckily, we did pay for adverse weather insurance. So, pardon the pun, sunken costs. So anything you've hired in, that you've hired in for that event, you can get your money back on.
Okay.
So the crowd barriers, the toilets, the skips, the marquees, things like that, all the stuff that you've bought that can be used again. So even things like the Marshall stuff, all the merchandise that was dated, the staff's wages, things like that, you just couldn't claim back. So I lost a significant amount of money.
A lot. Enough to have to sell your house.
Yeah. So that was like, all right, don't worry though, it's fine. We're going to come back in 2020. It's going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to be bigger and better. I don't know if you saw the video, but I did the video. Me and my brother were stood there in the Ivy's vest. Everyone said, it looks like you were going to cry.
Yeah. It's like watching the Rev video when they announced they were shutting.
Yeah. And it was like, we've worked so hard for 5 days, well, however many days it was, 5-6 days, I would have said. But you know what is amazing? So then somebody said, so we had to phone everyone up. So I had to start at the top. I was like, right, you start at the top of this list. You start at the bottom. There's 100 odd traders to phone. Sorry, we can't come. Right, it's not on. It's cancelled. It's what, like, and I was telling them to F off, get off the phone the next one. Like, you've got 20 seconds. Each phone call's 20 seconds because you've got 100. Because people were driving there. People were still turning up. You were emailing them and phoning them. And of course, some were getting the messages. Some of them were, I've just packed the van. Yeah, sorry, mate, it's cancelled. But gotta go. Someone else to phone. Bye. Like, just be rude to them. Like, at least you've told them. Yeah. And then they kept phoning back. Is it? Yes, it's cancelled. Gotta go. Got to phone another 100 people. Bye. I was so rude, and I did apologise to most of them after in the end, but they understood. But you know what the best thing was? So someone said to me, "Why don't you just do another video?" And I was like, "Look, it's cancelled. Sorry, blah blah blah. If anyone's available, right? They're coming out, like, pack it away because we are broken, and we were broken.
Yeah,
and I can't tell you the numbers, but about 35, 40 people turned up, and it was
amazing,
pissing down with rain. I mean, it was wet." And so we got, I mean, they were going up the courses, getting all the poles, you know, and they were coming, they were absolutely soaked. And one of the caterers was already there, and he was like, I'll sort the food out. He did everyone the food. Do you know what I mean? It was like, oh, you know, thank you so much, like that. And then the Dodgems guy, because the Dodgems was already set up, free fun fair. The Dodgems was already set up, and I went up to Dodgems, I said, mate, you know, I'm paying you for this. He was going to get paid.
Yeah.
We have 15 minutes on this. I went back to all the people. I went, the Dodgems is open. And everyone that was obviously like, just for that 15 minutes.
That's so cool.
Just like, everyone was just on the Dodgems, you know, obviously trying to kill each other. It was just great. Do you know what I mean? And it was like, right, now back to work, come on. But you know what? We tidied up. I've got everything packed away, ready to be shipped and whatever. Like, because everyone was lost all hands on it. People come, you know, from all over. Couldn't tell you exactly where everyone came from, but what a community that everyone was like, I mean, they just felt sorry for us. They were just, and the people were like, we're on our way anyway. You know, somebody would come down from Scotland and they were like, well, we're here now. We'll just give you a hand.
That's so
Him
good.
and his wife and his 2 kids were chipping in. I was like, oh, thank you so much. Like, because we were just battered.
Yeah.
Absolutely down. And then,
I bet.
And it was only then realised the financial hit and everything. But don't worry, 2020 will be fine.
Yeah, all good. Oh, hang on a minute.
Hold on a second. What's his COVID business going down? Oh, no. So, yeah. So, again, you lose money from that because you still got stuff. You're still working on it.
Yeah, yeah.
So, it's kind of theoretically, I didn't pay myself since 2017. You know, because you think 2018, broke even. 2019, lost money. 2020. 21 made money. 22 made money. Great. But then all of a sudden, it's like, well, actually, when you add it up, you know, I'm going into year 6 now. Like, it's not, it's
you don't become a millionaire off organising bike events.
No, you always expect it's going to take 3 years to make money.
Yeah.
But when you have 2 bad years and of course it's almost like the event never happened. People seem to almost forgot about it.
Yeah.
So we've had 2 strong years now, 2023. We've had 2 good years of weather as well. The events went pretty well. Last year was pretty seamless, to be honest. There was no issues, no big mistakes.
For people that don't know about the Malverns, got it right. Just tell us what it is, because like unless you grew up and were into mountain biking like 20 years ago, you don't know about the background. And if you've missed it for some reason over the last couple of years, like, what is it? So
30 years ago, 1899, it was chaos. I was there. I was part of the chaos. I caused some of that chaos. It was unruly. You know, people just turned up with kids were getting dropped off, 17-year-old kids with 4 litres of cider, you know, in a cross-country race and a downhill race and a dual slalom race, and people made their own ramps, nicked tables out of the marquee and jumped into the lake. The bar got raided, led by Rob Warner. Told you he was a naughty man. And they smashed the bar up and robbed all the drinks. Yeah, all the toilets got knocked over. Yeah, it was chaos.
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore. So we brought it back in, as I said, 2018. It's the Glastonbury mountain biking. So over 100 plus about 120 trade stands.
Yeah.
There's about 19 different races, everything from the Balance Bike World Championships over 3 days, Rippers Racing 5 to 10-year-olds, the British Cycling National dual slalom, national 4-cross championships is there. So basically racing, it's all entry level. It's not Fort William, you know, the course isn't like that. It's very, very, very entry level. But it's just great. It's bums on seats, you know. So about 6,500 people last year. almost 2,000 of those are racing. The other 2,000 actually ride. So you can ride all the courses when they're not officially open for practice or racing. So
nice.
So for prime example, the Enduro's on Sunday, 4 stages. Friday, Saturday, can we ride the Enduro? Crack on, folks.
Yeah, nice.
You can ride those stages. So people are actually riding bikes. They've got the GoPros on. They can ride down that course. Friday was the National Dual Slalom Championships. You'd be watching all the top riders on there. Saturday and Sunday, you and the kids, you and your mates, can we go ride the Dual Slalom? Crack on, folks. Go and get some race mate. You can do your race mates down there, follow each other.
Yeah.
So from our perspective, that's great. Big arena. The night's out. We got Leroy from the Prodigy. He's DJing. We've got Doddy from GMBN. He's great on the decks. Old school rave trio, which is what are they called? I should remember this. Hold on. Saturday night we got the Rat Pack, old school rave DJs. Yeah. I forgot who was on Friday night, but there you go. They do Shades of Rhythm. Shades of Rhythm. There you go. Friday night, Shades of Rhythm. 3 guys from Peterborough. Brilliant old school MCs. Yeah. Getting the crowd lifted. Oasis cover bands. Britpop cover bands, that sort of thing. So the night out is just fantastic. But it finishes at midnight. Yeah. It's not. There's some crazy people out there, people getting drunk and that, but it's not. It's nothing. Like,
it's family friendly then, yeah?
Very much family friendly. Yeah. And then you got the free fun fair and things like, which is all free as well, free airbag, free pump track, hands raid trials area, the slack lines as well. So very much an outdoor focused for the family.
Nice.
Come along, bring your bikes, come and have a good time, come and enjoy yourself.
And it's been well attended. You've had like Hans, Ray's been there, Danny McCaskill, the 50-1 boys, Wim Masters.
Yeah, so don't get me wrong, it's the same weekend as the World Cup. We're always going to clash with something. So we do miss those the top boys and girls to come along. So yeah, that is a problem. One year hopefully it will align and the stars will all line up together and then we'll get those over. But a lot of sort of social media influencers, they're the people to get hold of. You know, I gave a set of handlebars to the local kid down the trails the other day, last Sunday. He'd kept falling off his bike. His stem was 100 mil long and I gave him a pair of an old pair of Steve Pete's true fitted bars and stem. They actually were off his bike. I bought one of his old bikes off him and I gave it to this kid. He didn't know who Steve Pete was.
That's mad.
I was like, oh no. But he knew who Matt Jones was.
Okay.
And Matt Jones is coming to the Malverns. You know, he knows who Sam Pilgrim is. You know, Sam Pilgrim should be coming. You know, Sam Reynolds. They know all those guys.
Yeah.
But they don't tend to know who Danny Hart is or Aaron Gwynn or Steve Pete.
Yeah.
They know who Rob Warner is. I'm going to stop mentioning
him. He's got his YouTube channel going, hasn't he? So
yeah. He's had too many mentions already.
Awesome. So it's getting bigger and better than the Malverns. There's lots of plans for the future by the sounds of it.
So my goal is mountain biking is never going away. It ran for 10 years back in the day. We brought it back. I'm going for this for the next 20 years.
Yeah, you've got a long-term lease on the land, right?
Yeah, I had a 10-year deal on it. They'll be happy to extend that unless I mess things right royally up, which I shouldn't do, hopefully. But yeah, I mean, to me, it's going to be a 10,000 strong event shortly.
Yeah.
And that's everyone wearing a pair of Vans or 510s and a Fox t-shirt, you know, no tracksuits or man bags, please. Ideally not. But yeah, that's it, the potential's there, you know, and it can be bigger and better. You know, the more people that come, and I know people will never believe me. I say, I don't want a Ferrari. I don't need a Ferrari. You know, I want to invest in the event itself. You know, freestyle motocross. Let's get some of them there next year. You know, but if we get more people coming to the event, we can have a freestyle motocross display. We can get. You know, we bought Bob Harrow over last year. You know, we had Danny McCaskill and his drop and roll tour. And that's a lot of money to get those guys across. But wouldn't it be great to have them? Fabio Widmer, somebody like that to come in, you know. So the YouTube stars, some of the top riders to come, and just more attractions, you know, more events to go on and make it even bigger and even better. You know, some crazy stuff. Hairdressers, barbers there. Come and get a Malverns mullet. Pay a $5 and the $5 goes to charity. Do things like that.
Yeah. Awesome.
But yeah, some crazy stuff. It's
Sounds
in the pipeline. Watch.
Sounds good. So let's reflect on downhill racing then in the UK since you stepped away from the BDS.
Yes.
Is it fair to say it's sort of suffered?
I think the promotion side suffered. I think the numbers are great. I mean, when I last ran this series in 2017, I had to cancel Maltfree. We had less than 150 riders. You know, that's a 10 grand loss. I was like, I had to cancel about 2-3 weeks before the event.
Yeah.
the older age groups are dying.
Literally.
We're dying. It's all the young guns. It's the juveniles, the youths and juniors. That's what's propping up the series. Those numbers are really high, where back in the day, you'd have 80, 90 senior riders.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact numbers now. You'd have to go on Roots and Reigns. Seb Frost, he's local, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
To look at the stats, but the numbers are down for the Masters vets. The Grand Vets is all right. This whole boys 50 plus, but it's the younger kids that are coming through. So that's strong. That's brilliant. And I'm not just picking on any individual exactly, but I've seen stuff like from Malcolm Dunn. He's got a race here. He's putting some graft in. He's been down at Riola with the diggers and putting some work in. I'll always say the promotion side, you can never do enough for promotion, but getting the articles on Pink Bike, getting the race previews. Hey, next weekend it's going to be, I mean, I did the race here last year. We got Steve Peat out of retirement. We got Danny Hart here. We got Laurie Greenland here, but you got to promote that. Steve Peat's going to be, he's out of retirement. But, we had, and I don't know the figures, but we probably had 1,500 spectators come here.
Which is really good these days for a national, right?
Yeah. But, I paid for a big marquee.
Yeah.
People go, that marquee's a waste of money. Well, wait till Sunday, rain or shine. But the marquee was big, but you got to do that promotion, the course preview videos. Actually have someone on social media while you're there that weekend. Yeah, Steve Peat's here, Laurie Greenland's here, Danny White's here. Danny White's, what do you think of the track? How are you getting on? What bike you riding? You've got to do all that side of things.
Yeah,
So, but it took me 10 years to get the BDS polished. I didn't do a good job in the first year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year. Yeah, you're always improving. But the riders, they've got to get involved. As I said, we had very few people come and helped us dig. When we put the BDS on here last year.
Yeah, you mentioned there was like 2 riders came to help.
So Will Fuel came, but then the only other 2 people that weren't racing that offered to help and actually came and did some work was 2 female riders. Nothing wrong with female riders, of course, that's great. But where was everyone else?
Yeah.
And then when it come to packing away, nobody helped. Nobody said, "Oh, we'll help get all those." I mean, we had a lot of crowd barriers. We had over 200 crowd barriers brought in, and we stacked all. That's a big job. Do you want to get everything done by whatever time, 9 o'clock at night? Because that's when it's going to get dark.
Yeah.
But nobody offers to help. It's even hard to get people to take the rubbish and put the rubbish in the skip. They think it's your job to take their rubbish for them, which causes arguments. But that's what happens. So it's very hard to run a good national race series. It's a lot easier to run a regional race series because you're local. But if you run a national race series, you got to start traveling here, there, and everywhere. And of course, now there's 3 or 4 different race organisers running the national series. So having that continuity. What time does race registration open? Do they open it at different times? I'd like to open race registration at 3 o'clock on a Friday. I'd rather just get you in.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bed till midnight. We used to get race registration open till 11 o'clock at night. I'd rather sign you in at 11 o'clock on a Friday night than stand in that queue on Saturday morning when stuff's happening.
Yeah.
Get you in. But it's having all that continuity, standardisation, and getting everyone to be doing exactly the same thing when everyone's got their own different rules and regs.
Yeah.
Whether that be from marking tape out to how many marshals should be on that course.
Yeah, not straightforward.
So it's very, very difficult to run a good national series.
Yeah. Fair enough. Let's talk then about the world stage. Some big changes coming this year with the move from Red Bull to Discovery.
Yes.
We were talking before we sat down to record, actually. You have a background in commentary, obviously, and commentated on some of the World Cups for Eurosport back in the day. So you've kind of got some experience of the last time that we were in front of a different audience, pre-Red Bull.
A mainstream audience.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, I'll say, and this is, I'm being respectful and polite here to Red Bull, is like, I mean, the footage that they delivered was fantastic.
Yeah, it was incredible. We've never had coverage as good.
It's been brilliant. Yeah. You couldn't falter it, Rob Warner's commentating, etc. Fantastic. The only issue is only us lot saw it. When I used to work at Eurosport, and the first time I ever did it, and we were in the little booth, we had to do it live. It was live footage, and you were there talking over it from an office in London, Eurosport HQ. And all of a sudden, it's like, MotoGP's on. It might have been Valentino Rossi. He might have won. I can't exactly remember. And it's like, right, next up is the Man Bike World Cup live from South Africa. the guy says this, and you're like, okay, cool, right, you're on in 2 minutes. Viewing figures, this is so from Paris, Central HQ, Eurosport, viewing figures just in, it was something like 18 million had just watched the MotoGP, because obviously everyone in Europe watches the MotoGP. They love it. We all, it's great. And I was like, holy shit, right, here we go. Right, okay, and you're on in 10, 5, 3, right. Wow, good morning, welcome live from the Mountain Bike World Cup here in South Africa. It's 28 degrees, it's a beautiful day, blah, blah, blah. Done. Next day, walked out of my house. I had a proper job at the time. And my next door neighbour walks out the door and goes, all right. 8:15 in the morning. Yeah, right, yeah. I was watching the MotoGP yesterday. I thought, here we go. And the mountain bike was coming on. I thought, I watched that. And it said, Cy Paton. And he went, I think that's the guy. He said to his missus, like, I think that's Cy from next door, I think that's his surname, isn't it? She was like, oh, I don't know. And then you started talking. And he's like, it's him, it's Cy from next. Hold on, how have you got back from South Africa? And I was like, oh, that's a long story, but anyway. My point is, my next door neighbour, who's not a mountain bike fan, has never ever said to me, I was watching the Mountain Bike World Cup.
Yeah.
Because I find it hard to get, and so does everyone else. I know you said.
Yeah, I struggle to find the link sometimes.
You get your mates emailing you, messaging you, going, how do I get where to go onto redbull.com/bike and then find it? Yeah, we know where it is, the mountain bikers, you know where it is that are watching this, but your next door neighbour that's not a mountain biker doesn't. So then you got to ask yourself, back in the day, and if you're old like us, you'll remember it was the Grundigs, it was the Diesel. World Cups, it was sponsored by mainstream companies, the likes of, help me out here with some of these names, it was the Kona, Ford Kona,
Volvo
Cannondale, Mercedes Marion.
I forgot they had the Mercedes Marion squad.
The car companies were sponsoring. Volvo Cannondale. They were all there.
Big drinks companies, Mountain Dew.
Yeah, they were all in there. Sean Palmer, Mountain Dew, stuff like that. People were getting big money because it was mainstream. Yeah. The thing wrong, things have changed now. If you put it on BBC One today, or ITV, or an American channel, people aren't watching television these days, are they? It's all online coverage. But as I said, you're not getting that online coverage. That coverage is not getting into households. Which is why the riders aren't getting what they should be getting. Pound notes wise. So actually, I think that as good a job as Red Bull did with the coverage, the actual presentation, promotion of the more outside world of our world, of our little bubble, that's where it lacked. There's no criticism, it's just fact, because they're not getting 20 million people watching that live feed. I don't know the exact figures. Obviously, a lot of people watch the live feed, but I think 2-3 times watch it on the replay. Because we're all out riding our bikes, or depending on where you are in the world, it might be 3 a.m. in the morning. So that's the difference. So I actually think going on to the Discovery Channel, Eurosport, wherever it may be available, fingers crossed, we'll bring it to a wider audience. And then from a rider's point of view, that should mean more pound notes, more bucks.
So the money comes in from out of industry sponsors that want to be seen in front of this big audience, I guess.
Every rider's going to have an OnlyFans helmet.
Maybe. Let's not go into that one.
Maybe not.
So do you think that, do you think we'll see that trickle down? Do you think the national series starts to get more funding because brands that have associated themselves at this high end, other brands see that and think, well, maybe we want into this space, but we can't access it? Or does it need to have, the national series need the promotion to make that happen?
I don't think anyone's going to promote the national series. Firstly, depending on the title sponsorship situation. I don't know how that's going to sit in with British Cycling at the moment. I don't know from a national point of view. Is Shell going to want their logo on the number board? Is Shell going to be title sponsor? Do they even care?
Don't know.
That's another story. No one knows. I've not seen it called the Shell National Downhill Series or the Shell National Four-Cross Series.
No.
Has anyone? No, I don't think they have.
Not yet.
Will it even be part of that? Who knows? The promotion of the events have got to be better. Because why would you sponsor something if it's getting no visibility? It's not even appearing on Pink Bike, or massive coverage on social media and all the other social media pages. Not just your one, but the one for, all the different communities that are out there. Nobody's going to sponsor it, are they?
True. But the quality and the competitiveness of the national series needs to be really good now, even more so than before, I guess, because the stepping stones to get to a World Cup are maybe going to become more challenging, right?
It's going to be harder.
Becoming more elite at that top end.
It's going to be harder, and it's going to be more condensed, isn't it? We know that. It's going to be less. We believe there's going to be less riders on that start line getting that coverage.
Yeah.
You know, and rightfully so. When you go to the Formula One, there's not 100 cars on the grid, is there? You know, when you're watching a football match, there's only 2 teams. 11 players on each side.
Yeah.
You know, it's the pinnacle. It's the core. It's not.
Do you worry about that side of things?
If I was to be really honest, I think I've done my spell of running the national series. I've done my 11 years. I took it as far as I could with the assets and the income that was coming in as I could.
Yeah.
Was it the good old days? I think it certainly was. When you think back in, you'd have to look at the dates, but we'd sell the whole series out in 2 days, 3 days.
Yeah.
But we used to make people, I think we know this, we used to make people have 100 BC points.
I was going to say you had to have points to get in before. Yeah.
So the regional organisers loved us because people had to enter a regional series. So you can turn up at a national today, and never ridden a bike before in your life. With stabilised. They're probably late on the start line. But you could turn up today, right, and go, I'll have a go at this, mate. And you'd be like, all right, okay, you've bought a British cycling licence. The only qualification you need to get into a national race today is a licence and a membership.
Yeah.
We started off with 1 point. You needed to have at least, because we said you've got to have, so even just to get 1 BC point at a regional, you had to finish 15th place.
Yeah, okay.
So 15th place in seniors or in juniors or masters was
pretty spicy.
Well, you were all right. You could ride a bike.
Yeah.
But you knew the etiquette. You knew not just put your helmet on backwards and if you were starting halfway down the course to look behind you, that you weren't going to just pull out.
Yeah.
And someone shouted on the left, you got to the left, you shifted over.
Yeah. But
you don't need that now. And any idiot can turn up at a national level event, which I think is totally wrong.
Uh-huh.
You should not be able to do that. So it's a difficult one because why was it so good back then? I don't know. No one seems to know the answer. Maybe it's because there wasn't, if you wanted to get up that hill on an uplift, there was no uplifts.
Yeah.
It was only a race.
Yeah.
So part of going to a race was, I've got to lift up the hill. I didn't have to walk up that hill.
I have to push my downhill bike, yeah.
I remember Pierce Cycles, Dave Pierce coming to me saying, I'm going to do an uplift. I'm going to charge everyone £7 a day. Do you think they'll pay it? I was like, yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Because we would all turn up at Hopton on a Sunday morning, a long way back to that car park on a Sunday night, in the rain and the dark. Your last run would be in the dark, the push up would be like that. Yeah, it was difficult times. Yeah. But I think that's why races were so good back then. You don't have to race now. Again, you don't have to race now because Josh Bryson laughs at this, the Josh Bryson defect. He left when he didn't leave Cannondale, but when he stopped with Santa Cruz, and then he moved on to the Cannondale side of thing and he stopped the racing and just, I say professional gibber, which is fine, professional riders still, but it's like he didn't have to race anymore.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do racing if you've got a good social media presence, do you?
No, for sure.
To get sponsorship and get noticed.
Yeah.
So people don't have to race anymore. And you can just go and have a wicked time at any of the hundreds of bike parks around the world now.
Yeah.
You don't need to race, do you? I hardly race. I used to do lots of racing, I'd rather just go for an uplift day these days.
No stress.
Yeah.
Tricky, isn't it? So what's it going to take then to make British downhill great again, do you think?
Can we get one of them Trump caps?
We need them, don't we?
You know what? You need the riders to help. So prime example, and I said this, and it didn't happen when I did the BDS at Langolan. Every rider, I emailed every rider and said to them, go on Facebook and Instagram and social media and go, hey, I'm going to be at the National Downhill at Langolan this weekend. Come along and support us. Come and say hi. All these riders, the top riders are going to be there. Come and have some fun.
Yeah.
Hardly anyone did that. But if they'd have promoted the event, then don't get me wrong, everyone's going to go, well, hold on, he's taking a £5 off everyone that comes in. Yeah. And fair enough, I do. That's my job. But what would I do with that money? I'd put it into the next. I'd put it into the next event. No, of course I'd put some of it in my back pocket, and rightfully so. It's my job.
Yeah.
You've got a job, you get paid.
Yeah.
That's what I'd do. But I would invest an amount of that back into the event, the next event, to make it better.
Yeah.
They should come and help the organisers. Dig days. No one wants to dig. Of course they don't. But it's better than going to the gym. You know, it's actually quite fulfilling. It's really nice. No one helps pack away, you know. I go to Peer Cycles events. I don't want a medal for this. I know I'm saying about that I do this now, but it's like, you ask the Pierce guys, I get to their event, as soon as I finish that race, I go to the top of the hill on the uplift.
Yeah.
I follow the last rider down and I bring not all the course tape and all the poles in, but I walk down and carry what I can and go to Dave, I've left all these poles, all the poles are at each fire road, I've left the poles from one side or at that fire road, or I've done all the tape, I've done this. And then I'll get to the bottom and I do this for Chris Roberts. I'm like, it's bin day for me on a Monday. Give me those bin bags. I'll put them in my van. And I'll take 6 or 7 bin bags. I do it with Peer Cycles. Give me them, I'll take them. Don't get me wrong, my neighbours probably aren't happy because at 10 o'clock on a Sunday night, I go down my street and open each wheelie bin and I put a bag of course tape or rubbish in it. People don't do that. I'm not asking for a medal.
No.
I'm only saying it. I don't want thanks. To inspire people and say to people, that's what we should be doing.
Yeah, it relies on the community.
Yeah.
We make downhill great again.
Yeah, it's not the race organiser's job. It's the riders, the spectators, the sponsors, the bike companies to get involved as well. Peer Cycles did my mate was marshalling, he put a picture up of the bin at Rue de Felon and the skip. Sorry, skip was piled up and all the bin bags were outside. I went on Instagram, is this good or bad? That's all I wrote. Yeah. And half the people went, oh, that's great. People have put the rubbish in the skip or by the skip. But how's the race organiser? What's he going to do with all them bags? You've walked over to the bin and gone, oh, it's full. Oh, well, I'll just leave the bag there. You could have put that bag in your van and took it home and put it in your bin, but you didn't. Yeah. If 300 people have a bin bag and put it in the skip, that's insane. Why don't you take the bin bag home?
Yeah, we've all got bins.
Yeah. And you could even recycle probably 80% of that rubbish. Yeah. The plastic, the glass, the cardboard, the paper. Yeah. I think fair enough, put your nappies and your rubbish, the food rubbish, you don't want to take that home, dog poo, I get it, put it in the skip. Yeah. But you could take 80% of that rubbish home with you. Yeah. We did a race at here. Yeah. I nearly said Llangollen, the Enduro, just after COVID. And so look, I'm not picking up your rubbish, right? Because of COVID and all that. I'm not having a skip. You know what? No one left any rubbish. They took it all home with them. I was like, this is amazing. Don't get me wrong, it saved me 400 quid on a skip. Yeah. That wasn't the point. Everyone took the...
So it's doable.
It's doable. Yeah. The Enduro riders did it. The downhill riders, wow. It'd be lovely to see that happen. Yeah. But the Enduro riders did it, which I thought was amazing. Everyone picked up the rubbish. Yeah. And you know what? And they helped tidy up. Even Adam Brayton, who won the race, helped move the crowd barriers. I said, okay, I got the mic. Anyone come out, move the crowd barriers. And those people, 2 crowd barriers. We did it in 20 minutes. Yeah. Instead of 2 hours. There we go. It can be done. That's what's going to make it great again is for people to volunteer, you know. Yeah. They need to pick up rubbish. They need to do some digging. They need to say to the organiser, do you need a hand setting up?
Marshals as well, like every event seems to be struggling for marshals these days.
You know, I mean, I've marshalled. I've been a British cycling commissaire. You know, British cycling commissaires don't get paid. It's a volunteer's role. Yeah. You know, I've commissaired a number of times. You know, the amount of times I've commentated for free, just to make the sport better. Yeah. You know, people are very self-centered, very selfish. I think if you want to make the sport great again, you've got to put yourself out there. And you know what? The rewards are there because you feel great. You do something good. I'll go to every time I ride, I've got a litter picker and I'll pick up litter. Yeah. After I finish riding, that 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. But you know what? It's my little cool down and I'll feel brilliant. Yeah. I don't want thanks because I get the thanks myself.
Yeah, you're doing it for you ultimately. Yeah. Right? It's making you feel good.
I look around and go, this is nice and tidy now. I feel good. Yeah. Yeah. I don't expect anyone to help me. Yeah. But everyone needs to start digging in, literally, and doing something to make the sport better. You know, I did a little article in an online thing the other day, and it was like, imagine if everyone set aside half a day or a day to dig once a year. We'd live in mountain bike heaven. Yeah. The BMXers do it. I get to the BMX dirt jumps. They're grafting, and they're not building jumps with wood, logs. They're solid jumps made of mud, of dirt. Yeah. Hard work and sweat. But imagine you went down your local trails and everyone was like, let's do a dig day twice a year. Imagine here, what you'd have here if everyone, you know, Martin and his team chipped in. Yeah. He's got 800 members, hasn't he, in the old One Giant Leap. Yeah. If he said, right, next Sunday, it's wet, no one's going to ride, let's all just dig. Imagine what 800 people would do to that.
You build a
It'd be
whole
like
track.
Whistler.
Yeah.
Be like Whistler.
Yeah.
Be like A-Line. But no one wants to do it. No one wants to put the hard work in.
Yeah.
They rely on old people like me to do it. That's what needs to improve.
Yeah.
People need to get off their ass and chip in and ask all. And I appreciate people don't know how to dig. I'm not trying to sound rude. How to build a berm, how to build a tabletop, a jumper drive. But ask. It's not hard to find the people that are doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's all get together. Even just go and pick up litter. You don't need hand doing that, do you?
Very true. Solid message.
There you go.
Loud and clear, mate.
If that's all that gets across from this,
Yeah.
just a few people chip in, get on it.
Yeah. I like it. And you'll feel good for a result of doing it.
Yeah. And you'll have muscles. All that digging. It's good for you. Good for the soul.
There you go. Good stuff, man. Well, we're going to start wrapping up. We've got our final 4 questions. The first of those, if our listeners had £150 to spend to improve their performance on a bike, what would you recommend they go spend it on?
Shovel. A mattock. Yeah. A trail rake.
Yeah.
Because if you build your own trails, you'll see and you'll go, oh, I've built that wrong. But you'll learn to ride a bike better by doing that.
Yeah. What's your go-to trail tool? Have you got a special favourite?
You need 4 trail tools. Invest in a silky saw.
Okay.
Super sharp Japanese bladed saw.
Yeah.
And cut all the spurs off trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everyone leaves the spurs on trees. Don't do that. Even on the
impale yourself.
Yeah,
on.
you fall on that. I've seen it. It's horrendous. The silky saw is a really good, little one.
Yeah.
Like that. I have got one of those super long ones as well to do the branch when we used to do the jump. But yeah, anyway, that's really good. A big mattock.
Yeah.
It's like a pickaxe, but with more of a blade thing on it. That's good for getting, especially on the rocky courses like here. That's a super tool to use. BTR trail rake.
Yeah, I've seen those.
That's good for getting into all the mulch and stuff like that. That's a great tool as well. Another really nice light tool is Chillington hoe.
Okay.
Made in Wolverhampton.
Oh, there we go.
Just a bladed, like a big hand, but just great for bench cutting in and stuff, for bench cutting into the side of the tracks. They're the 4 tools that you need.
All right.
Yeah. Don't use wood. Don't ever put logs behind, because I'll just rot and it'll fall apart. There you go. They're the 4 tools. Spend your money on that and you'll be a brilliant rider.
Good stuff. Second one, if you could wind back the clock and sit down with yourself age 16, what advice would you give him?
YouTube. I didn't know about YouTube. I should have done YouTube. Like, I was putting all these videos up and stuff, and at the BDS, and going to stuff like Crankworks or commentating at Crankworks, going to Red Bull Rampage back in the day, like 2003. I was there.
Yeah.
I was on the dig team with G. Afton. I was his original dig team. I was one of them. Like, I should have had obviously not a GoPro, but whatever it was, and videoed stuff, and that would have been just amazing. Yeah, missed the trick on that, well as buy Bitcoin, and then sold it a year ago.
Before
that would have been a good thing to do.
Yeah. All right. Third question: if you could have a coaching session from anyone, past or present, who would it be, and what would you want to learn from them?
Dale Carnegie.
Go on then.
Do you know him?
No.
How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Okay.
Best book I ever read.
Yeah.
Not because I need friends, but just about life.
Okay.
How to talk to people, how to treat people, how to use their name, how to listen to them.
Interesting.
He's a super famous guy that died probably 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Into public speaking, but just how to engage with people.
Yeah. Like
people, every kid at school should read that book.
Okay. We'll put a link in the show notes so people can dig that one out.
There you go.
I'm aware of the title, but I've never read it. Check it out.
It's a very interesting book. It was written like 100 odd years ago almost, sort of thing. But it's very interesting about how to, and that's really helped me from being where I am in the industry. Okay. And getting through life without having like a proper job. But just how to talk to people, but not doing it for to get stuff off people. Just have a good life out of it. Yeah,
being nice to people, you get that back, right?
Yeah. A lot of karma stuff in that book. Really, like for me, it's like I got 2 kids, 8 and 12. It's like I don't know if they ever would read it, but I want you to read that on holiday.
Yeah.
I'd give them that book when they're like 16 and say, you should read this book.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, we'll stick links in the show notes and I'll read it myself. All right, last one. What do you do every day that you feel benefits you?
I count my blessings every day. I have a little ritual every morning. I count to 10. And I thank for what I've got.
Yeah.
My kids, good lady.
Yeah.
Ride bikes, the festival, my arms and legs work. Like, really grateful for what I've got. Because I came from nothing. I had nothing. And I've sort of had nothing not long ago. I was on the dole not long ago. I had nothing. I had to sell all my bikes. I had to sell literally everything I had to survive. So when you've actually got nothing, you actually realise what you have got. Yeah.
And how good that is.
And I was during COVID, it was the poorest I'd ever been. Like, I was skint. People phoning me up when you come for a ride and stuff like that. I couldn't put money in the van. But like, you can't, it's not about the money. It's like, it's what's around you. It's the people that are around you.
Yeah. None of those things you listed off are money related.
No, it's absolutely none.
Yeah.
I always think that when I'm sure if you sat in an old people's home and people were dying, it's like they will not say to you, I wish I'd bought another Ferrari or another Rolex watch.
Yeah.
I'd spent more time with my wife, my kids, riding my bike.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what it's about. It's about just enjoying what you've been. You can always aspire to have more, and I say that, do that. But just being happy with what you got at the moment. But you've got to get up every morning in the mirror and go, you know what, I'm really happy with what I've got, but I do want to improve.
Yeah.
Whether that's I'm trying to do 100 press ups at the moment. I'm on 35. I'm trying to improve. But every day you got to look at that and go, what can I do? What little things? Just little steps, little things to improve.
Yeah.
Like coming here today, it's improved my life.
Let's hope so.
Hopefully.
Good stuff, man. Well, that's a super nice place to wrap up. If people want to check out like you and what you're up to, where are the best places for them to look?
Down the dirt jumps, down the BMX track, down the pump track. That's where I'll be.
Okay.
Jumping.
Sounds good.
Leading the Grand Vet Plus category at the Four Cross Nationals.
Nice.
I'll be in the lead. I'll be the one over the pro section because the others can't do that. Yeah, I'll be on my bike.
Yeah.
Besides that, I not Instagram. I mean, I've got a Malverns Classic Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't want to be on Instagram. I'm old and got no hair. I'm not important. And don't even look at my Facebook page. Like this, like I don't put anything up about me on my Facebook page really. So don't.
Is there a Malverns Classic website?
Yeah, malvernsclassic.com.
Yeah.
Check out Malverns Classic on Instagram and on Facebook, of course. But yeah, you'll just, if you don't see me, you'll hear me first.
Excellent. And tickets on sale for this year?
Yeah, Malverns Classic tickets on sale. They'll go up in April, so get your tickets now.
So there's like an early bird price.
That's right. UK's biggest mountain bike festival and party and expo. Get yourselves there. Why wouldn't you be there?
Happy days.
It's going to be fun.
Nice one. Thanks, Si. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Wish everyone well. Thank you for listening to me. Have a good day and go and buy some trail tools and a litter picker and some bin bags.
Nice one.
Thank you.
Cheers, Si.